Hey guys, today I'm building in BLOXBURG. I am building a Spanish restaurant because I'm planning to make a video of like running a restaurant in BLOXBURG, so I need to make a restaurant for it. And this was way harder than I thought it was going to be. I'm not going to lie, I thought it would be easier because I had watched a couple speed builds or whatever of other people, and I definitely thought it was going to be easier, but it was very hard. So here you can see I'm kind of mapping out where I want my building to be. The thing was, I was very wary about where I wanted my building to be because in the Sims, you can move your house after you build it wherever you want. You can move the whole plot if you want, but in BLOXBURG, wherever you build your house, like you can't move it unless you move everything one by one. So I was trying to make sure it wasn't too close to the sidewalk. Looking back, honestly, I probably could have moved it even further back. It was still a little bit close, but you know, whatever. I'm adding floor because I had this idea for basically the only part of the house that's actually going to be used is the inside. Is that little box right there? I don't know how to explain it. But I wanted most of the outing to be the seating to be outside. So I had this idea for this courtyard, and I tried to put this roofing over it. Like, I don't even know what type of roofing this is called, but it's like not actual roof. It's just lines, and I was trying to use basic shapes, but each basic shape is like $100, and then you have to size them up, move them, and that all costs extra money. So I was like, okay, this is gonna be way too expensive, so I kind of got rid of that idea. And then here, I'm trying to build a custom like wall trim, I guess, but for the top of the roof, because the reference photo I was looking at had these really pretty like wall trims on top, and that's what I wanted in my build. I didn't actually know that the game had wall trims at this point. They do, but they're still not custom, you know what I mean? So there I was adding actual in-game wall trims. I was like, let me do that real quick, see if it's any better. Anyways, I know that wall trim is ugly. I just want to warn everyone that the first like 10 minutes of this build, everything is very ugly, okay? And everything basically ends up changing. Like, I don't really keep any of this, so don't worry if you see something you're like, geez Louise, that's ugly. Don't worry, it's probably getting changed. And now I'm doing the roof. Roofing is very easy in this game. They can kind of just do it for you. It's definitely easier than in The Sims. Now I'm trying to do windows or arches, because in a lot of Spanish architecture they have like these rooms that are just like a bunch of arches, you know what I mean? Like what I'm building right here, you see how they have like just a bunch of arches? So I was trying to do stuff like that. I tried doing it with a window at first, then I realized, no, I'm supposed to get like an actual wall cut out and size it up and da-da-da. It was a slow process. I was learning though, definitely learning. This whole build is very trial and error, I'd say. Like, I just put so much stuff down and had to get rid of it. So here again, I'm trying with the the custom wall trim. I really wanted this to work, and I was still kind of figuring out how to use the basic shapes. Like, for example, it has to be in the middle of where you want it, because when you resize it, it goes out in either direction. So I had to kind of work around that, because like, I feel like my brain is, the way I build, it's like very attuned to how I build in Sims, which I'm not saying I've never built in BLOXBURG before. I definitely have. I used to play this game a lot in 2020. That's why I have like game passes and stuff. Well, actually, I had to buy the Transform game pass and stuff, because Transform was not a thing when I was building in 2020. But it's been a while. I've built in The Sims definitely way more. Here, I was trying to build a custom window because I saw a lot of people doing that in the speed builds that I was watching. I was struggling a little. I do end up figuring out how to make custom windows, but this is not the window I went with. Don't worry. This was this was really hard. I was trying to have like kind of a blue center because my reference photo had blue windows in it. So I wanted a blue center and then like a white archway around it, but I could not figure out how to make like a custom arch around the windows. Like, and I was trying to make an archway into the restaurant, and I was like, I just could not figure out how to resize this archway in the right way where I could paint it and do what I wanted with it. So I was definitely struggling a bit in that area. Again, this whole first 10 minutes is it's all a little bit of a struggle until I kind of start figuring out how to do it. Here I was putting this like that green archway, because I thought maybe I could paint it and make it look how I wanted, but for some reason the game doesn't let you place it down like on flooring. I don't know where it expects you to place it down, but it doesn't let you do it on flooring, so I was very confused. This game is very interesting about where you can put stuff and stuff like that, which I'm always told, like, oh, BLOXBURG has no limitations. Like, that's why so many people build on it, because you can basically create anything you want with basic shapes. Here I'm like searching something out, which is why I paused. But yeah, everyone's like, oh, it has no limitations. You can basically create anything with basic shapes. So, you know, I was definitely excited to use it, but I'm sure that's true, the fact that you can build anything, but it takes a lot of skill to kind of know how to use the basic shapes, I think. But yeah, there definitely are limitations in what you can place, I noticed, and where you can place it, which was kind of annoying, but makes sense. Games are like that. So you can see I kind of overhung the roof there. I actually had to just make it come out one because there's no option to extend the eaves. Like in the Sims 4 you can extend the eaves if you want, but here you just have to rebuild the roof and make it like overhang. So I was like, okay, that's fine, that's not a big deal to me. Here I was actually, the reason I paused is because I was looking on TikTok and I was looking for like custom archways because I was so determined to have this beautiful archway entrance. And honestly, looking back, I feel like my problem was, first of all, I don't know how to make a custom archway. Second of all, I feel like the walls just like are not very high in that little section that I'm working on, which kind of made it, I don't know, the build just, it didn't fit an archway there. You know what I mean? Like it just didn't seem right. So here, this is my attempt on making a custom archway. Everything is slightly not in the right place and it's just, it was a total struggle. I was trying to add a little swoop at the bottom there and make it look extra cute, but yeah, anyways. Basically everything you're watching is gonna get deleted in the next few minutes because sometimes I have to take a break and come back and look at it and be like, oh shoot, that's actually really ugly, and then I get rid of it, don't worry. But yeah, so I was just trying to build an archway here. Also that flooring gets deleted, don't worry. And then I tried to put the walls around the archway and I was running into this problem where the walls didn't fit, like there were gaps, so I had to use custom blocks to fill in the gaps. And yeah, and then I was trying to bring in the blue again because my reference photo has a lot of blue in it and I still don't have any blue in this build, so I'm trying to add in some blue. It looks really, really bad. And then I tried to kind of move it a little, and the thing about like the custom stuff here is you can't move it, like unless you move every piece one by one. Like I wish there was a way you could grab it all, but no. I did kind of figure out a way to move it when I was making the windows later on in the video, but at this point, yeah, I was like, I just kind of got rid of it. I was like, I don't really know what to do. And honestly, I'm not gonna lie, I don't think that this building really felt like there should have been an archway there. Like the other building already has so many archways. We don't also need an archway in this building, so I'm kind of glad I gave up on the archway idea. I'm not mad that it didn't work out. Maybe you guys can give me some tips in the comments below on how I can make like better custom entrance ways or whatever, because I was struggling a little. Oh my god, I dropped my mic. I was experimenting here with kind of popping out the archway. I felt like that looked better, and then I was trying to add like this looks so bad, actually so bad. I was trying to add whatchamacallit, like, I don't know, in The Sims there's wall decorations that you can put up to just make things look more realistic. Like there's vents, there's pipes, and so I was going through the menu, the decoration menu in Bloxburg, kind of looking for something like that, but they don't really have anything. I found a few vents, I'm sure there's pipes somewhere, but like, I don't know, that's why I was using those like coat hangers there. I was just trying to add some like extra detail, because sometimes when you just add shit in The Sims, like it ends up looking good if you add enough of it, you know what I mean? But yeah, it wasn't really working out here. Okay, here I'm trying to build again my custom wall trim on top. I was just building it on the floor in the meantime, but yeah, I was trying to build it on the floor first, and then I was going to move it up, but then also again, you can't move everything all at once, like you have to move it all one by one, so I might as well have just made it on the top. But yeah, the reason I was so obsessed with these custom oh my god, I keep forgetting the word, like wall trims on top, is because the reference photo I was using had such beautiful ones, and I just really wanted to recreate it. I'm aware those are two different browns. I was kind of trying to create some contrast there, but yeah, eventually I was like, I don't know, let me just move on. Sometimes I need to leave something and move on to the next thing, and then I can come back and I can look at it with a fresh eye and be like, okay, that was ugly, let's not do that. So here I got rid of everything in the front because I was like, yep, that's ugly, let's not do it. I moved everything back like how I wanted it to be, and I was trying to add in these like hedges, maybe just to add some, I don't know, I was like, this could be cool. This wasn't in the reference photo. I also experimented with changing the white accents to brown since the roof is like orange, but I didn't really like that in the end. I did like that green though with the house. I prefer that green of bush to the like default green it gives you. I think that green looks or fits better the house, or fits the, not the house, it's a restaurant. So this build is actually going to be used in a video. I'm going to make trying to run a successful restaurant in Bloxburg, because I don't know, I haven't played Bloxburg for a while. I just want to try it out. This is a whole new account I'm on, which is why I don't have that much money. I did have money when I played in 2020 and stuff like that, but yeah, I've kind of lost the money now. Okay, here's my second attempt at making custom windows, and this one went a little bit more successful. I think I was starting to get it. Here's when I learned that if you stack things on top of each other, they can actually you can duplicate the whole thing. You don't have to do it all one by one. So at first I started making the windows one by one, and then I realized, oh, I can actually just duplicate it all. So I added that little blue thing at the bottom because I was like, I need to add blue somewhere in this build. Like the blue is so pretty in the reference photo, I really want to do it. That's right where I realized you can duplicate, so I was like, let's go. And I just kind of focused in on one window. I was just experimenting. I did end up liking these windows, actually. I'm sure there's better ones in game. If I just like wasn't ambitious and actually just grabbed some in game, I'm sure it would have looked better, but you know, I am ambitious, so I tried it. I tried a custom window and I don't hate them. I'm not mad about it. And I was really happy I was able to incorporate the blue. I added these pillars. I know one is off center or in the wrong place. Don't worry, I'll fix it later, so don't get triggered. And then yeah, sometimes I had to go out and look like not in build mode, because when you're in build mode, it's kind of hard to rotate the camera. Like, you can rotate it, but you can't like rotate it up and down. You can only rotate left and right. So sometimes it was easier for me to just go out of build mode and look as my sim self or my BLOXBURG self at the house. So that's what I was doing here. And then I took a break and I ate dinner, and while I was eating dinner I watched a YouTube video. It was Capdo, C-A-P-D-O. I watched his video because that's what came out when I searched up BLOXBURG builds, and he was building a house for his fans. So I was kind of watching what he was doing. He did a lot of landscaping, which is what I do a lot in The Sims too, so I was like, let me try some landscaping, see if that helps. And he also was using structural beams a lot, and I was like, how is he using the structural beams like that? Because when I'm using them, he was able to like drag them, like drag and create them to be any size. You can see I'm putting the structural beams down, and I can't like drag them and make them any size I want. You see what I mean? And then I realized I have to switch the toggle. So you can actually toggle the way that you use certain items in this game. For example, like when you're building roofs, when you're building floors, and also when you're using structural beams. So here I was like, let me toggle this and let me try and build my custom wall trim or whatever on top. I was like, finally, this should be good. So here I'm trying to build this custom wall trim. I'm not very good at measurements. You can see that I was struggling to get them all the same size. This is why I was never like, oh, I should be an architecture or something, because I used to do a lot of building in The Sims, but it never ever once crossed my mind like, oh, maybe I should go into architecture, because I do this all the time, because I literally suck at measurements. Like, I'm just bad at it. And I was like, whatever. So at first I was trying to get it perfect, and then I was like, whatever, maybe it'll add to the like old restaurant charm if they're not perfect. So I kind of just did whatever, and I was like, hopefully it'll look good. So if you see one that's the wrong size, just ignore it. It's not a big deal. I think they ended up looking fine, as long as you're not looking closely, like whatever, you know. And then it looks bad from that corner right there. I was trying to add structural beams to the corner because I got so used to using structural beams, and then I was like, what am I doing? Why don't I just use a pillar? Like, the thing about structural beams is they're very finicky to use. They're such a good item and tool to use because you can make whatever, but they're finicky. And yeah, I kept getting like used to using the basic blocks and stuff. Like, I used a basic block for like the patio there, or the pot there, and I was like, why aren't I just using flooring? Anyways, so I still wanted to do this courtyard idea that I had earlier. I was like, let me add in this tile. I don't end up liking that tile, don't worry. But I was looking for a restaurant decal here, and I was too lazy to actually find like an idea of one. So I was kind of just scrolling through the ones you can find in the basic menu. That's the one I chose at first. Don't worry, it's not the one I ended up on. I was just kind of using it as a placeholder while I kept building. So yeah, it's ugly. I'm looking at it now and I don't like it, but don't worry. I found these cool ivy leaves, which I put on top of the roof, and the cool thing about these ivy leaves is you can even put them on slanted parts of the roof. So even when the roof is going down, you can put them on there, which is something The Sims you can't really do. So I was like pretty impressed. I put those on, and then I was trying to put in trees, and I only have 2 trees unlocked. And I was like, this is all you get when you start out in BLOXBURG? You get 2 trees? Apparently I have to up my gardening skill to get more trees. So whatever. I had 2 trees to work with, and I was like, whatever. It doesn't matter. I'll just use bushes or whatever. Anyways, now I was painting the inside. I was wondering why the archways weren't painting, and I realized you have to paint it all individually yourself. And I was like, that is insane, but okay. And the weird thing is every single archway costs the same amount that it would cost to paint like an entire wall. Like, I don't really understand just the pricing in BLOXBURG. Like, it's so random to me. Like, why do I don't know. Anyways, it doesn't matter. I added in that tile in there. I really liked how it looked. I felt like it looked kind of realistic, which I liked. And then I was experimenting with different chair colors, but I was like, actually, the blue works because that matches my windows, which I'm just now realizing are pretty covered up by the bushes. And I spent so long trying to make that little custom piece at the bottom, but it's okay. Then I was adding in some candles on each table. You'll see I don't end up doing a lot of furnishing in this place just because I want to do it in the video. Like, as I make more money from the restaurant, like when I'm doing the video, I'll furnish the place up a little bit more. So I kind of just added in the basics. I added in the chairs in here, I added in some fans, I end up adding in some plants and candles, but that's kind of just all I really add in there. And then I wanted to kind of, the courtyard was so open, which I still don't have floor down for the courtyard, but don't worry, I ended up adding it. But I was like, let me try and like section it off a little. So I was just using these bushes or whatever, landscaping, trying to section it off. I was recoloring the bushes so they don't all look the same, because just the constant orange and blue, even though it matched the house, was like totally getting tiring. So I kind of recolored the bushes a bit. Here I'm adding a path. Oh, and rocks. I actually really like the rocks in this game. Like, I think more than I like the rocks in this Sims. Like, I don't know. It's just nice. I built a stone path, which I kind of like the look of. And yeah, at this point, I figured out that I can choose what time of day you're building at, because earlier I was building like the whole time in nighttime, which was so frustrating. I really did not like building at nighttime, especially because at that point I hadn't put any lights on the house or anything, so I literally couldn't see anything. And I finally figured out how to adjust the time of day, because that is something you can do in The Sims, and I was like, I would be really surprised if it's something you can't do in here. So now I was finally looking at the back of the house. I literally had not looked yet, so you know, I got a roof on that little piece. And here I wanted to build a chimney, I guess, a fireplace, I don't know, just a little something at the back of the house, so I didn't have to put 1,000 windows, because you know, when you build custom windows with all those basic blocks, like all those basic blocks end up being $300 like each. So those custom windows are like 1,000 a pop. Anytime I wanted to add windows, it was like 1,000 BLOXBURGs, and I was like, jeez Louise. So I was trying to find other things I could put here that weren't windows. And you see here, see, this is another thing that I find weird with the game. Like, you can't put a chimney on a basic block. It's like, why? You can only put it on a roof. So I had to add like a tiny little piece of roof at the top, which ended up being too big for the chimney. Like, it looks so stupid. But I was hoping no one would really look back there. Anyways, I added that tiny little piece and I put a chimney on. I don't even like the chimney I chose. I'm probably going to go in and change that, actually. And I was like, okay, don't worry, I go back to the back more. That is not the end of the back. Like, trust me, I landscape it a bit more. I was finally adding in the courtyard, which I liked. I was also adding in fences here, but I don't know why. That one was larger than the other one. I'm not sure why. But so I'm just adding fences here. I kind of liked the landscaping a little, but again, it was just too open for me. I was like, I need to fence everything in a little bit more, because I feel like when you build a house on a big plot of land, which BLOXBURG gives you pretty big plots, like, it just looks stupid when everything else is kind of bare. And I only had 2 trees, so I couldn't surround the whole house with like trees and cover up the fact that there was this infinite amount of land that I hadn't touched, you know. So I was like, what am I supposed to do? Also, you'll see it was raining that whole time, which, interesting thing I found out about BLOXBURG, you can change the time of day when you're building, but you can't change the weather type. So if it starts pouring in game, you're just stuck with it pouring while you're building. And I was like, oh, that's just great. That was really bothering me, but eventually it stopped, so it was okay. Here again, I'm going through the decorations panel, just trying to find some decor for the outside, but really all their decor is for inside, which I guess makes sense. It's just like, I don't know, The Sims has a few things they can add outside, which I do appreciate. I'm just adding a few more things into this little indoor courtyard. I'm adding some plants. I don't really like the plant options in this game, I'm not gonna lie. I think they're kind of ugly. Like, I was trying to find big plants, but this is the best one I could find, which I'm pretty sure is like the default plant that you get when you start the game, so whatever. I added painting in there. This is when I decided I didn't like the restaurant decal I had, so I did grab a new one. I'm moving all the stuff indoors. Again, I'm not planning on really furnishing the inside because I want to do that in the video. So right now it's literally just like a workspace. Like, it's just the kitchen and a couch in case my sim or my BLOXBURG self gets tired. So yeah, I can basically do all my needs in there. I have a sink to like wash my face, brush my teeth. I have a fridge, and I have a couch, and I have a stack of books. So that was the plan in case I needed to replenish my needs, which obviously I do, because look at my character. She's disgusting. She's stinky, but whatever. Anyways, here I'm looking for restaurant decals, and I was looking through this menu. I really couldn't find anything that great. I wanted it to be like transparent on the background, but still good. So then I went to Pinterest, I went to TikTok, I was looking up IDs. I tried this one. I didn't really like it. It kind of matched though, so I was like, maybe I'll start to like it. You guys have to tell me, where's a good way to like find good decals, because low-key Pinterest and TikTok weren't giving me a lot, and I don't know where you look when you want decals. So tell me, let me know if you guys know, where do you guys get your decals in BLOXBURG, like the IDs for them? What do you look it up on? I did actually really like this one because it matched my house perfectly. Like, the green matches the ivy perfectly, and the orange matches the roof perfectly. So I was like, okay, I have to do this one, and I realized that it was probably the wall that was the problem. So I tried adding some ivy, but this ivy is so weird. Like, you can't recolor the ivy on the wall. You can recolor the ivy on the roof, but that wall ivy I had, like, you couldn't recolor it. Also, you'll see I just added a garden fountain, because that's just so cute, and that is perfect for the courtyard. I thought that was an adorable addition. I added that in the courtyard. And then here I was looking up ivy for a decal because, I don't know, it was just like not looking right. I think it's not the right color of green, which is probably why. And my picture actually went in front of the ivy, which I found kind of annoying. I didn't know how to put the ivy in front of the picture. Anyways, I added a few last finishing touches. I moved that pillar that was wrong, and I added a few more fences, and this is the final build. I hope you guys like it. It was definitely harder than it is to build in Sims. Also, I'm just noticing how whack that tile is on the ground. It's literally going like every which way, but whatever, the build is over. Yeah, I hope you guys like it. It was super hard. I don't know how I feel about it. I think, tell me if you like me, sorry, no, tell me if you like the build. Tell me any tips maybe to get better, where you guys get your decals, because yeah, that would be super duper helpful. Like, I definitely need to know. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video, and have a good day. Bye.